baningi bawenzile amateki baningi kodwa bakwazi kuwenza the way iproducer yami yenze ngakho.
Okay. The problem amateki kumele ashise.
Fanele ashise.
Yeah, manje mozothenga amateki abandayo. Ungitshele nje. Because I heard somewhere which you also stayed in our hostel.
Yes, I actually came. When I came here, we stayed at Mhlopi. And my favorite was Breakdown.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do right now? Breakdown. Is that he? You cannot just stand when the beat moves you. You know? So I incorporated my creativity with what I've learned from about the likes of Iyasha Lemhlo.
Lochan is charm. Gedlisa nathi. Kulo naga siziragela phambili.
I'm very impressed with what you're trying to do.
Mina ngithandela utshwala.
Nathi singama community omphakathi. Usifosile? Uyasijoya fusathina.
Journalists have been asking me what happened between you and Somizi.
It's a good day to have a happy day.
All right, it's Happy Days on podcast. Ngendlela right, and ungathatha ama-chance. Tata ama-chance. It's a good day to have a nice, beautiful Happy Days on podcast. And then we continue. We're just here at the Soweto Theatre where everything is happening. We're trying to, by all means, out and about. So if you know how we are, you will know which we've invaded the likes of Vilakazi Street. I'm not too even sure when does we do our main studios in Ilovo Sentin, but that's the cook, how the cooking chambers, man. So we're meeting people everywhere. We're traveling in places and places. You can actually call us if you want to be. I heard Alexandra, I complain with why was Alexandra. No, shame around. So it must be all Alexandra was a so Tata my chance, we're our take. Right now, we are having the legendary Messi Pakela. Right. Miss. But the sun moon and yeah, players who very well about goosebumps on Kuman and Fana. Oh, pity zelo, or Fano petting us or relaxed.
Oh, Ayashisa Mate.
I am a take. You know, it happens to be my size, though, at least.
All right.
Yeah, we having on my ends sneakers. I heard you were complaining how. Babega mayenza sneakers amateki she's amateki. Definitely, they need to do that. Just likewise. All right, let's start this conversation. I don't know even where to start with you, because when you're talking legends, we're talking the early years when Kwaito was not introduced. We're talking about Pansuna like us.
Yes.
The very early years.
Of course.
The life where your upbringing is not well documented, Miss. Can you take us through as to, I know you from PE, but you're growing up. How did you, how is your family? Who is your family?
Oh,
wow. Everything about your family, because I was trying to check, Yes. Mama fihla yonke into.
Yes, in a woman's stage, it's a secret way.
Yeah.
But you know, when you say in the family and background yomuntu, I was born in the Eastern Cape.
Okay.
I was born in Port Elizabeth. From there, in 1976, I was only 10 years. And when at that age, I was getting wiser. And then I was part and parcel of East Strike Saka 76.
Okay.
Because my aunts were up there, riot Saka 76. So my grandmother decided to take me back to the east, to the rural areas, because I was getting too wise. So and then jump on my fence, give na roof, with my aunts. So my grandmother decided, this one must just go to the rural areas. But fortunate I was, when I went to the rural areas, I met up with my grandfather, who was from exile. Actually, not from exile, from Robben Island, and Nabobabu Mandela by then. And he was a chief, and I have to look after a chief at the age of 9, 10, and the history of our culture. A chief, Pakelwa umfazi osetombile. So I had that fortune at the early age, whereby I was looking after the chief, which was my grandfather. So yes, and when I was 16, I left the Eastern Cape and I came to Johannesburg, pursuing the music career. So yes, and that's when I met the likes. I was very fortunate, I must say. The first time I came to Johannesburg, I met the family Yakamamakariti Mtingana. So they call him Makarit Singana because they could not pronounce Ikamalaki Abelum. So
remember there was a hit I released.
Yes. Hamba Begule.
Yeah.
So Kalanda one.
We put that voice of yours.
Okay. So and at the time I came to Johannesburg, Umama Makarit Mtingana was coming out of hospital, a stroke. So I was very fortunate to look after her, and her daughter, Cindy. So yes, in Johannesburg.
So when Usuga PE, you didn't know where you were going?
I didn't even know where I was going.
Because I heard somewhere you also stayed in a hostel.
Yes, I actually came. When I came here, we stayed at Mzimhlope. So from there, at the ladies' hostel, we were introduced to the family Yakamam Makaretu. So yes, I did not have a family here. Actually, even if I had, I didn't know that I had.
But how was it like to actually live in a hostel? I'm thinking at those early years, because I think those were the times where women hostel were introduced.
Yes, we were actually living in a women's hostel because the ladies' hostel in Zimhlope, was there in those years.
Oh, okay.
It was mainly women's hostel. So we stayed there, and actually we were not even welcome. We were not even allowed to be there.
Okay.
Because it was for people who are working. So we were kids. We were not supposed to be there.
Okay.
So we stayed there for some weeks until I stayed with Mama Margaret Mtingana's family.
But how did you met Mama Margaret?
I actually met Mama Margaret Mtingane through her daughter, Cindy Mtingane. And I stayed with her and I looked after her, and because they were going through trauma. The kids, they were going through so much trauma. But anyway, that's my history, and that's my content. I'm not going to share it.
Not too much. But how did you actually knew ukuthi now you are this artistic person with regard to the musical talent that you actually share, because at those times I know ukuthi abantu makhuluma ngoMessi Pakela bazokutshela ukuthi umajayivana. Yes, sanyeke uzubuye la. But how do you like know and even venture to become this huge person in the music scene in South Africa?
Yeah, but as I was still telling you that we learned from those who were there before us. When I was raising the issue it's because I wanted to let you know that we've learned from those who were there before us. And I did not only work with Margaret Mtingane. I worked with the likes of Mavis Maseko. I worked with the likes of Umam Olive Masinga. I've worked with the likes of Patience Africa.
Yeah.
I've worked with the likes of Unombuso Mabaso, the whole soul singers. And it was a learning curve for me, to work with them, because I learned the stage appeal, and I learned how the lyrical content, how do you put together the lyrical content in music, and I learned how to present myself in public. So it was a learning curve. So it is very imperative for us to have the intergenerational collaboration today. Because the now generation would not tell you about Margaret Mtingane. The now generation will not tell you about Patience Africa, because we don't have that link. We have a missing link. Ray Piri was saying,
Yeah.
So, yes, and I've worked with the likes of Ray Piri. I've shared the stage with Ray Piri. I've shared the stage with Brenda, and we had that bond then. We did not have a problem. You would say, this music, we don't listen to this music, we don't play this music, because we played all generations and all genres of music. And
but at that time, when you were staying with the early days or the early years, when you were actually staying with Margaret, was it at the time
no, at the time she was a big name. She was a big name. I mean, when she fell on stage, she was performing at the Colosseum. Do you know Colosseum Arena? Yeah, Colosseum Arena. And also I mean, when I first came to Johannesburg, Colosseum was about to die, to collapse. And Margaret Mtingane fell on stage and got paralyzed. While she was performing at Colosseum. And she was not performing with local artists. She was performing with international artists, like the OJs, and Richard something.
Okay.
The blind man, some blind man.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I became big at the later stage after, having an experience of backing other artists. I mean, like I'm saying, Ebony, I was part and parcel of Ebony working with Ulena Kama, the wife Yaga. And let me tell you something that I nearly forgot. Yes, she's on the shy. Ispantul. I was taught by Ulento Iyashelimhlo.
Oh, Mato.
Yes. I mean, uyabona makhuluma ngomajayivana ukhuluma ngawashelimhlobo.
Okay.
Yeah, and his wife Ulina was also umajayivana. Ispantsuli besiphuma lapha. Yeah. So I took it from them and I made it a trend. But me, I challenged men.
Yeah.
On stage.
Would you take a chance?
So that history is not even written. On its own, it's supposed to be in the books where the now children are learning our history. Because without that heritage, our industry is going nowhere. And actually the education modules about African musical history and cultural values and norms need to be written by us whilst we are still alive.
I'm sure the arts and culture
I
minister is listening.
I wish they could hear this.
Mr. Nat, you must do something.
It's not Nat, it's Zizi.
It's Zizi Kodwa. Yeah.
Zizi
And
Kodwa.
it's at least Zizi Kodwa is very young, so we can even, do something about this.
I wish he was listening here.
Yeah, let's
I wish
just
he's
hope.
listening.
Yeah,
I hope he's
you
listening.
need to, even if he's not listening, please send something to Zizi. Yeah, it's just a clip, this particular one.
Yeah.
But doing music, Messi, at that time, because it was apartheid time, how was it like, the difficulty of even, releasing a song, or, going ukuthi yazi ngithanda umculo and meeting people and releasing a music for them?
No, it was not that easy because first and foremost, when the record companies would not take younger people.
Okay.
You had to be a certain age to be recognized. For instance, when I wrote a song for Ulendo Umam Olive Masinga, Ivuke Makandini, I had to age couple.
Oh, okay.
Because I was only 16.
So you
I was
used the
17.
football age.
Yeah, I was 17 and I was not even allowed to be credited.
Oh, okay.
So I could only be credited if I was 19.
Oh, okay.
So I wrote a song for Umamu Olive Masinga, and I did not even know that I can write, but something came in my mind and I started writing, and she loved the lyrics. So it was that difficulty. But the other difficulty is that, the music business value chain was not taught in our schools by then. So we did not even understand the clause of the contracts that we signed. And of which some of the people would say artists were ignorant. There was no ignorance.
But is the problem not even escalates until now?
Up to today.
Yeah.
Up to today. Because most of the talented people, they come from the rural areas. And they come here looking for the opportunities. Because there are no opportunities in the rural areas. And where talent is. And they come to Johannesburg to seek for these for these opportunities, and they find these so-called stakeholders in the industry ready and waiting to take an advantage of them not knowing the deals that they sign with them. So it's the experience that we've had, and even the ones before us, they had that experience. Because if you can still say Umam Miriam Makeba has not received her rightful royalties up to today, even her state, is not into place. I mean, which heritage and legacy would their grandchildren have? So those are the little things that we need to sort out. And I mean, even in the copyright bill, I mean, if we are going to talk of the acts that have been ruling this copyright law, without transforming the industry. So that simply means we are playing games with the innocent people who want to have heritage and legacy out of the industry, So there is this thing of fair use, which is the fair use. It's an act that comes from America, So we cannot depend and rely on Americans whilst we have our own minds, creativity, and legal aspects that are supposed to be protecting and covering the needs of our people.
So now moving to, I know that you actually made mention of Abu Mam Africa as well as Margaret, you know. But moving to your music now, how did you get into your music and just the first release? How did it come about?
Whoa, you know what?
Because Nyazi could take Levis Pasha.
You know, I was very fortunate. It was the same manager that managed Margaret managed me. I was very fortunate. The same PRO that promoted Istimela promoted me. I mean, the likes of Peter Tladi promoted me.
I know Mr. Tladi,
you know?
Yeah. He's the owner of T Music, man.
Yes,
yeah.
He promoted me. You know, he is the one who got me to be signed by the record label, in my Fuller record companies. You know, so, and those are the things that we don't do. We don't thank people who paved the way for us. So I thank them today. I say thank you, Prapita, for paving a way for me to be recorded and to sign with the record company, and thank you for promoting me. And no mamu Isabel Maseko, who from Dark City Sisters. Okay. She's another woman who made sure that she mentors me. And I'd like to thank also a white woman who was my agent, Rosie Katz.
Yeah.
And
a memory of an elephant. You can remember.
Yeah, yes.
But
yes.
I'm thinking, Peter Tladi, for which record label? Because I know he's also the one who's behind the Joy of Jazz now lately, isn't it?
Do you know that even Rebecca Malope was promoted and marketed by him?
Imagine. So
Yes.
Peter Tladi
No, Baba Wetu.
All right.
You know, we must.
So Peter Tladi
we'll
got his
respect
cover,
it.
and then why is it Tole your first recording?
Yes,
One of
my
those.
first recording. It discovered me when I was backing Ebony. I was part of Ebony, and I was also a backing singer Yagai Von Chakachak. So it discovered me on those stages, and it saw a talent in me, and it saw a potential in me. What I can lead, and I became a lead singer, and I worked with the likes of Bones Brittles. Do you know Bones Brittles?
It's a group, isn't it?
Bones Brittles is the name of one of the guys is the hot soul, the lento.
A whole soul
No,
singer.
Zaga PJ Powers.
Oh, okay.
PJ Powers, Tandek, and a band.
Yeah.
She had a band.
Okay, those were the
so-
early days.
Yeah.
I'm trying to recall. That's what I'm saying. You know of an elephant in this thing. You can remember everything. But how was it like, even before talking about your release, to work with the likes of Mom Yvonne Chakachak? I can imagine.
Sorry?
I'm saying to be a backing vocalist for such a guru, Mom Yvonne.
But yeah, when I you know what?
Ban out. Go Jane.
Thank you, Mr. DJ, for playing my song.
Yeah, but thank you.
So
Okay.
I used to back those songs, and my favorite was Breakdown.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do right now? Breakdown. Is that he?
Hey, but it feels like we can release it now.
I'm telling you, that one is still a
It
hit.
sounds so good. Yeah.
No, but you know what? That history needs to be told. And this interview that we have is not enough.
It's not.
It's not enough.
Yeah, it needs a whole lot of
yeah.
the whole week.
We need to
tell
write
the
books.
story. Yeah.
We need to write books. You know, so that abantwana babe nama education brochures.
Yeah.
You know?
So the first song, which one was the first song? Because Mina, I'm just thinking of.
Ayashisa.
Not necessarily Ayashisa. There's another one that I love. I know.
I will hold on.
Hold on.
Disagreed.
Yeah, Liz of Lind.
Actually,
That's
that's not the first
There's
song.
a place called I will tell you, I will remember the place. Image, club image.
Club image.
Yeah, no, that's it. Tatama chance, abazi extra. Ebeziwa la. Yabuzwa la ndaba muya club image.
Even.
Utaya ngiye club image utawe sana. I will hold on. Those were the, but it's not the first release, isn't it?
It's not. The first song that I did was King of the Disco.
Okay.
And Love of the Train. Love on the Train. And it was a single. You know those times we used to release singles.
Yeah.
So it was a single. But I only had white producers.
Okay.
We sat down after that release and said, no, we are not reaching, the
intended market.
The intended market. The marketing niche.
Yes.
And I said, okay, there's one guy that I had with Usis, one lady, one gun, I just forgot him. But anyway, I had this guy with Sizwe Zako.
Yeah.
And I had this guy who got friends with her, and I had her beats. His beats are something that I love, because ama beats wakhe had isig, and I said to the record company, please, if you can include a black guy with these white guys, so we'll find our sound.
Okay.
And they called Godfrey Zuza. Godfrey Zuza came in. That's where the heat came from. I will hold on. When Godfrey Zuza was combined with Bones Brittles, where Hotline, remember Hotline with the PJ Powers and Bones Matam. So they came up with a solid production, which gave birth to I Will Hold On. So you see, the intergenerational and collaboration started then, but it ceased to be forgotten now. And in those days, we had no color. There was no color. We did not believe music was music. Yeah.
Because I see all the times when you're talking about hits during the 80s, the name Sizwe Zako always comes out. Yeah, Bushkutu Sizwe Zako was more of
it was a
our
hit
Quincy Jones.
Yeah, Sizwe Zako, Godfrey was my producer. Sizwe Zako was my producer's friend.
Okay.
Godfrey was.
Oh yes.
Mshaz. So it became, I had hit after hit, hit after hit thereafter, up to Ayashisa amateki. And Mama Ndialila, which was done by what's this guy? Chikotwa.
Yes. And there's also another hit just before Mama Ndialila, which I just forgot. That is what I'm saying. You actually
respect yourself.
Respect yourself.
Respect yourself.
Yeah.
I'm yours. And I had
yours.
Yeah. Yes, you remember.
I know you say it. Now I'm thinking, no. But now, Missy, in the jive. I know ukuthi sekunokwenza ama-dance challenge nowadays. I'm thinking maybe mamisi ngaso sikhathi beke sase into it, because ukjive, where did you learn ukjive, or it just comes naturally?
Yeah, it does come naturally.
It's like playing football.
I can dance. I enjoy dancing, and I enjoy dance music, because you cannot just stand when the beat moves you, So I incorporated my creativity with what I've learned from about the likes of Ayashisa, and the backing singers that I've worked, all the artists that I've backed. Like for instance, Abo Hot Soul singers, Abo Nombuso Mabaso, and Abo Mamu Patience Africa. Patience Africa, again, we would not sit. I mean, Patience Africa was just like Utilaten.
Umkhohliwe ebusweni Patient Africa, but when you actually mention that name, what comes to mind? I remember the show that I used to very much listen to, the Radio Zulu show.
Yes.
Kansas
City,
yes. He used to play a lot of Patients Africa.
Yes, because I mean, she's was
Yo.
Yeah. Hey! Yeah.
When radio was so simple,
She had, it's like Mendo Nzima, and there were so many songs. She had a lot of hit songs. It's just a pity their history is not written. They left this planet Earth without being recognized for, paving a way for us. But Mina, here I am. I am going to recognize them.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to make sure that the now generation knows where we got it from.
But do you also think when Messi, did South Africa recognize you and gave you the flowers you deserve? With regard to all that you have now because of your music.
Yeah, it's just a pity, when you are a woman and outspoken and vocal about the injustices of any sector, of any industry, you get sabotaged. I've been sabotaged because I've been saying no to exploitation because we were exploited, and we are still exploited. If Sahara can die crying about her rights, music rights, how about us? You see, so I've been sidelined. But how do you mow down a person that is already down? But men in this industry are capable of doing that. But anyway, here I am with you, and I'm still alive and kicking.
Trying to just rub it off there. Yeah, but I want us to actually get into details because, they say, especially that now that you actually mentioned the issue of Zahara. Before Zahara died, you said it, that you actually cry. And then sometimes they will say, help is coming, but it didn't come. And it's not just for only Zahara. A whole lot of musicians told which help didn't come.
Yeah, I know.
It actually painted a very, very faint picture as South Africans, which we're not helping each other.
Of course, we have not reached that stage of helping each other. And I think it goes with times. And I think our people are realizing now that we need each other more than anything. Because, I mean, if Americans can shun what is happening in Gaza, that means we need each other more. Because what is happening in Gaza, it's unjustified.
It's a human rights issue there.
Yeah, it's a human rights issue. So we need each other more than before, because it might come, because we never know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, that's true.
So we need each other more now as Africans.
Yeah. It might not necessarily be for money.
No.
Yeah, it might just you need a psychological support.
Moral support.
Yeah.
And we need moral regeneration. Because we seem to have forgotten who we are. We seem to have forgotten who we are. So the only way of getting back to our cultural values and norms is to revisit our morals.
That's true. Yeah, I put it
I
nicely.
talked too much?
Yeah. This is your interview. I'm giving it to you. You can talk as much as you want.
No, but I think I've said enough.
Yeah, but let's talk about Umabr. working with Umapr, because I know what you were that closer until the last days of Umapr.
Yeah, no, I'm still again there. I was very fortunate that we met with Brenda, at Commissioner Street. There was SABC. The SABC was still in Commissioner Street, not far from Carlton Center.
Yeah.
So, when we were growing up, we got into Revamping, and then and then we were walking in Commissioner. I was coming from downtown studio. It was RPM by then. Coming from there, Petty Vinyl Yam Lana Kwapeni, and on the other side of the street, Petty Vinyl Yakenaye, and then we met Emnyango at Carlton Center. Hi, who are you? I'm Messi. Are you Brenda Fassi? Because she was already there on the line. And I said, yeah, I like you. I said, I like you too. And then we went inside. Okay. We were looking for Ubaba Vinolia. Collins machine. Looking for Ubaba Collins machine. She must play our music. You see, that was personal marketing. We went there to market ourselves, to introduce ourselves to this producer of this production. And Babu Collins just liked with his puppy names. He came out and said, "Sati Baba, start go to spaghetti TV." He took our copies. Yeah. Because those days it was vinyls, big summer vinyls. I thought, Baba, ahambe now. You know what? Can you perform for me here?
Once.
Once. And then Zanyi City Stars, we performed right there at reception. Everybody was laughing and everybody was looking at us and they were appreciating the fact that we labana mahloni. So then that's how we marketed ourselves. And we did not stop there. We would go to Gwabo Rowena, we would go to Gwabo Lee, the Shibins there. We would go there and play our music and ask the DJ to play our music, and we'll stand on top of the tables and dance for the people, and people will enjoy. And the next thing, people will go buy our music. That's how we marketed ourselves. There was no record company who was marketing me. They followed after people picked me up, So, and you would sign a contract that says that 35% is going for marketing. And when did they market me? Because I did the self-marketing. You see? So all those things drive people crazy sometimes, because some of us get frustrated when you realize that
Yeah. But your relationship even went as far as you taking care of the baby Bongani.
When Brenda gave birth to Bongani, I was the first person to hold Bongani. Our relationship went long, because we were not rivals. We were friends more than being rivals, and when she made it, I was happy for her making it. And when I made it, she was happy for me making it, because we had that close relationship in such a way that when she was going to the hospital, I was there with her, And that is why I could not say Bongani when he's having dilemma or problems with the industry. I could not say no and shun him. I had to be there and backing him up and support him where I could. And other people don't understand. The industry does not understand. The industry say things that they say, they put spices where they want to put them. But the fact is, Bongani, as Brenda's child, he is my child. Even Yvonne Chaka Chaka's child is my child. Ebony's child is my child. Right now, I just met Umtana Wakakeli Mafur. And Kelly Mafura's child is my child. I am going to fight for that child to get what is rightfully hers. The legacy and the heritage, Mamake, she must get it. I'm sorry, this is how I am.
You're on Happy Days on podcast, and we continue the conversation. We're just going to go to just a quick break. We're coming back. We're back on Happy Days on podcast, and again, I be right, amateki Ayashisa, but
Amateki, it's
happens
not
to
your
be
size.
our size.
But it's never your size.
It's never my size. It's the sneakers you can actually get hold, or you can have one as long as you subscribe. Subscribe with Happy Days, and then you can have these sneakers. They are yours, but not just for free, but freely though, because we're just asking a question, a very easy one. We had an episode last time where we were interviewing Ukatleho Tunare. We were talking about his new book. It's called Joe Mase book. So I just want to know as to how did that name came about, Joe Mase book, and you can find it on that particular episode, and then subscribe, and then you just answer. You go to admin@coldwarmedia.co.za and answer that question, and then these sneakers can be yours. We'll be running this competition until next week, and then we'll run it up and come up with the next question for the next competition after all, but still winning these happy sneakers, the Yenza sneakers. It's a local brand. You can still support them. You can go to Yenza, that's www.yenza.co.za, or you can go at info@yenza. You can write them the email, and then they can just give it to you. And we've got this size mess. That is why it's the Ayashisa amateki, and it's a good thing because it's amateki, man. Ayashisa amateki are released in 1985. Was it
No, 87. 88. Yeah.
But as a region, I'm taking no understanding. Ngoba phela bangangibulala kabantu bangaqeda le interview
Amateki.
bazoshuthi nangu sesangene.
Yenza amateki yenza amateki yenza.
At least you're not like Winnie Kumalo. Winnie Kumalo show us some different signals. Makakhuluma ngayenza. Uma angifuni ukuyisho. So Ayashisa amateki ibhale ubani iza kanjani and icabange kanjani?
Yes, you know what? In 86, I think there was this boycott, ne?
Okay.
And there was a state of emergency. So now, my producer was staying in Orlando, Ukotrinzos. So every time, after about 5, 6, because there was a state of emergency. You were not supposed to be outside in the street, or guys, they were not supposed to go to because, so guys would say, Soweto, Ayashisa amateki, and then Ayashisa shukuthi makbalele. Yabo makudliwe phansi. You know, and then me and my producer, you know, I would go and visit his home and we would go and talk about the next show and what is happening with the next production and as we were doing that, you know, we had this gimmick. It sounded like a gimmick to us, and that's where amateki come from.
Oh man.
Everything comes from a gas.
Yeah.
Everything was created from a gas.
You see, it's a beautiful story. You never think of it. You know, you never think of it. How amateki akamuka ngala story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and nobody knows.
The story of people.
Yeah.
A gas.
Yeah. A gas.
Yeah.
A gas.
It's a
from a gas.
Ayashisa.
Yes. And then Ayashisa amateki. Why?
And that was a hit.
Yeah, it was a hit. It's still a hit.
It's still a hit.
It is still a hit.
Udlala manje zaphahla.
Ziyawa. So, you know what? I'll tell you a story now. When I was coming here, you know, this bald guy that I came with, he says to me, he's recognizing me and he's looking at me and he says nothing. And he just plays the song.
And that was so spiteful.
He plays Ayashisa amateki, and the next thing he says to me, look at me, and I look at him. He's got his camera.
He's playing.
Yeah, he's playing the music, and the next thing we have to shoot. And then he says, I must sing the song.
Yeah.
And then he gets a content and he sends on TikTok.
Same time. So that trend.
Yeah. And then to TikTok, the next thing he gets a following, and people are singing Ayashisa amateki with TikTok.
Maybe the good thing, you need to sing that song for us now. Just 1-2 liners, just to remind people.
Ayashisa amateki.
Yeah.
This is not my size.
Yeah.
Ayashisa amateki. This is not my size. Mama bought me brand new shoes.
Yeah.
So very kind of dancing shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, she didn't know what my size was.
Ayashisa, they actually, you even revamped the song with Bongani.
Yes, I did the song with Bongani.
But why didn't you guys release the song? Because I know you've recorded it.
Yeah, no, we just need to put things together, certain things that we put together. Because we need to release a package.
Okay.
We want to do a video, we want to do we're writing a book, you know, a brochure, not even a book, a small brochure that talks about amateki. I'm not going to give you enough.
Okay.
It talks about
But it's coming.
amateki, it talks about our relationship with Bongani, and it talks about that era.
So
My
that's
relationship with Mamaki.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's in the pipeline. So we are cooking.
It's
We're cooking
coming,
things.
it's coming. But Mama, abanye bazothanda ukwazi ukuthi ubaba ekhaya.
I know I don't talk about my personal life.
Because I read somewhere that you were swept away your feet by a French man.
I don't talk about my personal relationships.
Okay.
I don't talk about it because at this age, what if am I going to talk about another personal relationship?
No,
I don't do such.
yeah, but there is a French man.
There is somebody in me.
Oh, there is somebody. Okay. And maybe just to wrap it up, there's a story that I saw on the website where you were talking about being bandring goons at Robeni, you know, in Dombazane. I think it was a taxi rank. Somewhere at the taxi rank. Was it Brie or Nord?
It was at Nord.
At Nord.
It was at Nord.
Where else can it be? I Nord. Okhululeki guys.
You know, but you know that actually I was going to the studio. I was not even going to a taxi. You know, I was going to the studio. There is a studio, Esilapa, 100 Plain Street.
Okay.
I was going to the studio You know, so I mean, I need umuntu abantu ngicabanga ukuthi uyangihrunda lo muntu kanti uyagrapes.
It's just a lady nje.
Yeah, Shane, it's one of those things. Abantu bakithi balambile. You know, so somehow you may blame abantu ababamba inkunzi and not blame them. And that is why it is very imperative ukuthi sidile moral regeneration. You know? Yeah, the immorality, even in the people, our leader. You know, because there would be no corruption in parliament, there would be no corruption in all these institutions, if at all people were sticking to their morals.
That's true.
Yeah,
enhle. So indaba yabantwana bamanje abareleasayo kuma-miss.
Yeah.
What is your advice? Because there's a problem there. You know, ubona abantu abantwana, girl child, boy child, bazithola bakuma situation and angazi or mhlamba ama pressures that comes along with the industry. You know, uthola abantu sebaya umsekele thola izinto uyabhema wenzani career iphele, you know. Thola imali iphelile, thola umuntu sekayinhlekisa and lo muntu inayo talent. You know, what do we do? And mina nenze kanjani mhlawumbe to advise abantu abaqala ukucula noma umuntu osaqala ukucabanga uqala ukucula ukuthi angayenza kanjani ukuthi ahlale a grounded.
Yes, in the digital space, because now what happens is that they release 500,000 songs in a month. You know, and the competition is so high. The pressure, you know, ababanayo abantwana abancane ekufuneni ifame. To us, it was not about fame. It was about fulfilling, fulfilling that void. I just want to be on stage. I just want to perform. I just want to sing. I just, you know, I want to dance. There was that thing, kids. But now, it's about fame and money. You know, and somehow they must. That is why we need to revisit our morals. You know, somehow, okay, this thing, it's business. As it is a business to the one that manages me, as it is a business to the one who owns the digital space, it is a business to me as well. You know, so that is why it is important manje ukuthi abafunde. They must go to school. These kids must learn the music business value chain. You know, because the industry is so broad. I mean, if at all, at this age, I'm 57 now. If I can still go back, your study, I'm at Vets now. I am doing ECOS, cultural policy management, because I want to draft these policies. I want to be able to draft these contracts. So that I can be able, so that I can be able to assist Labantwan. And I want to go in there and share my experiences with the young ones that are there at Vets, because they're coming to the dog eat dogs world. The music industry, the creative arts fraternity as a whole, is a dog eat dogs world. And nobody cares about you. You know, and it is for you with social media. You are going to get frustrated because mangas are trendy. Omunye omcha uzo trenda. There is no sustainability there. You know, so you've got to learn to equip yourself so that you can be able to be sustainable. Hallelujah.
But then the future of South African music, as it is, we know, obviously we always say music evolves. you know, which it does. It's a good thing. We need to move on and really embrace and come up with new things, you know. But now, in comparison, because obviously we need to look back, you know, so that we know where we're going. But now, when you look at where we're coming from, Mkulo, and comparing it to now, is there a future in the South African music, and where are we heading to? Yeah.
You know,
free flow.
Yeah, it's too much. But now, the only thing that would sustain us is originality. And we don't have originality in sampling. You know, because when you sample something that belongs to someone else. So you don't have intellectual property. You don't have ownership of sampling somebody else's work. Because you're going to go back to that somebody. Uzomtolabi, because that person that recorded that sample is in America. He gets the benefits. So it is imperative, Bantwana Bam, ukuthi start creating your own sounds. The example, Umaporis, what did he do? He went and did Ngoma Yaka Kamazu. Kwenzakalani? It became a hit yomhla. The example, ubani uKB, what Mr. KB, uthatha ingoma yeDalom Kids. Those sounds, those are original South African sounds that are owned by us. It gives us an identity.
Yes.
So, abantwana bam, those sounds, them amapiano, you can create your own mapiano and record your own mapiano so that people sample your work.
So you wouldn't mind if someone says, Miss, can I do amateki?
No, I wouldn't mind, but he must involve me.
Oh, okay.
And credit me.
Yeah, and credit.
You know? Because it is imperative.
But it's amazing ukuthi akakavuqhamuka umuntu othi Miss, awuthi ngishawa amateki.
Baningi bawenzile amateki, baningi kodwa bakwazi kuwenza the way iproducer yami yenze ngakho.
Okay.
You know that when I talk of identity,
the problem amateki mele ashise.
Fanele ashise.
Yeah, manje mozothenga amateki abandayo. Ungitshele nje. Ithi shithini le ndaba. We're wrapping it up, and thank you so much, Mambesi, for coming on Happy Dayz, for really sharing the studio with us. You want to interview him?
Yeah, what's your relationship with the Chico Twala? Why are you Twala?
No. There are different Twalas. Okay, that's a story of another thing. I will talk with Chico about that because I spoke to him and then he was like, "You're taking advantage because you're a Twala." No. It's a different Twala, this one.
Right, no, thank
because
you.
if I will answer for Chico, you can go as far as Shadow Twala and then you come and say Ban Twala. Yes, Twalas. It's been Happy Dayz and signing out and out.
Thank you.
Subscribe and become a member of the biggest family, the Happy Dayz on Podcast family.